Well, the 2020 World Food Day is taking place in the backdrop of the COVID-19 pandemic that has compounded household food insecurity worldwide, but more pronounced in low and middle income countries. In South Africa, 56% of the population live in poverty and almost 28% in extreme poverty. Although South Africa may be food secure at a national level, large numbers of households within the country are food insecure, as about 20% of households are estimated to have inadequate or severely inadequate access to food. Now to discuss this, we're joined via Zoom by Professor Sylvester Mpandeli from the Water Research Commission. A very good afternoon to you, Prof. Thank you so very much for being with us here on SABC News this afternoon.
Good afternoon to you and to your viewers.
You know, I was talking to a fellow prof just before I spoke to you, and one of the things we were talking about was the fact that largely South Africa is a food secure country, but the fact is that there are so many households that have inadequate or less than enough access really to food. And I really want to try to understand why this is the situation. I think a question that I asked Tim too was the responsibility on our side, really, those of us who are able to provide food for ourselves, and in some instances even go beyond and wasting food. What is the responsibility and the role that we're supposed to be then playing to make the situation easier for those that are struggling?
Thank you so much for asking this question. We spoke about these issues this morning. We had a World Food Day dialogue with our key strategic partners. And one of the issues that we have highlighted is the fact that we need to produce more food. And such type of food needs to be rich in nutrients. That is why Water Research Commission and its key strategic partners, we are now promoting underutilized or indigenous crops. There are specific reasons why we are doing that. One of the reasons is the fact that, these indigenous or underutilized crops are easily accessible. And you can go anywhere. These are the crops that in other areas that are gathered as wheat. Over and above that, we are also promoting school vegetable gardens. We are also promoting backyard gardens so that, we address issues related to food security. You recall that, we are facing multi-stresses in this country. And some of these multi-stresses include climate change, land degradation, and so on. We have got the responsibility to make sure that, we produce high nutritional food and also address issues related to health and so on. So as a result of that, Water Research Commission and the Agriculture Research Council and the Department of Agriculture, Land and Rural Development, we are working hand in hand in order to address food security issues in this country, not only at household level, but also at national level.
Yeah, I actually was listening to a clip we played here on SABC News where Minister Barbara Creecy was talking about the sustainability of feeding in areas that are battling with food insecurity. And I wonder, what are those, what is sustainable really? I heard her talking about putting in boreholes, for example, perhaps teaching people how to farm and so forth so that they can actually be able to provide for themselves. And so if there isn't any money, there's at least crops or something that they can eat. What measures must we put in place really for this to become a reality in the long term, not just as a contingency measure, but really in the long term, where we find communities that are essentially feeding themselves? If you drive out into some of the areas, if I go out into Limpopo, people have their own food in their backyards, in their gardens, and they already have vegetables and crops. So I wonder how we can make this more sustainable really throughout the country.
I think there are various mechanisms that we can use. For example, I know that majority of smallholder farmers are producing high quality products or produce, but they are struggling to access formal market. it is the responsibility of various knowledge generation organizations in this country in order to make sure that, those smallholder farmers are supplying their products to formal markets. And we also need to derive the agro-processing, initiative, because like you have indicated that majority of smallholder farmers are producing, high-quality products. Yeah. The unfortunate part is that there's a post-harvest loss, and we need to address that. In order to address such kind of things, there are various mechanisms that we can use, including agro-processing. Other than that, in order for us to be food secure, we need to encourage, various schools to produce their own products in order to supplement or complement the food schemes that have been introduced in those schools. We can also encourage households to produce their own vegetables in their backyards. So as Water Research Commission, we have decided that this is going to be our key strategic focus areas for the next 10 years. And we are working very closely with other knowledge generations organizations.
I'm so sorry,
to say that we are trying to address the science policy interface.
Yeah, I'm so sorry, Prof. We've unfortunately run out of time, and there's a story that we are chasing this afternoon. We appreciate your time, and we'll certainly have more conversations with you on this. There's a lot more to unpack that I think you can give more information on. Thank you for being with us here on SABC News this afternoon, sir.